Hey guys, this is Sports Card Man. Today I'm going to be doing my top 10 first baseman right now in the majors for the 2019 or 2020 season. Sorry, I'm still getting used to saying 2020. So right here is kind of my logo for my brand, Sports Card Man. I just kind of took this image off Google, and this is my book, Sports Card Man, a whole new ball game. You can buy it on Amazon with through a Kindle device or download it through your internet browser. It's $9.99. It's a really good book. Definitely should check it out. But let's get into it. I'm gonna basically just talk about a couple of cards and get into the countdown as who I like for first baseman this year. So number 10, I like Reese Hoskins. His 2014 Bowman Chrome rookie. That's his first Chrome card. That's a good card right now to invest in if you want to get a cheap card of him. It's only around like $10 in a PSA 10. The pop's around 344. He does have a couple of Bowman Chrome autos, so you can invest in those as well. But this is just a good cheap investment. Bowman Chrome stuff has come down this year, especially in like PSA 10s, and it could easily trend back up, and this is just a good cheap investment that I think you can double your money on, especially if he gets hot with the Phillies this year, who people are saying are going to be much improved. Let's go to number 9. So this one's a little tricky. I used Yuri Gurriel just because first base is not like as deep as it once was. I considered using like Jose Abreu. I thought about putting on, but Gurriel had such a good year last year that I decided to go with him, even though the Astros have had a lot of skepticism whether they're like a lot of guys will maintain value this year or if they'll go back up because of the whole like sign stealing thing. But this is such a cheap card that you're not investing a lot of money, and he is a little older, so I could see if like you didn't want to invest in it. But like at $15, and if you can get an X Factor of him from 2017, number 99, I think it's a card that could easily be a $30 card this year, just because it is really low numbered, and I think somebody would definitely be able to want it for 30. So but if you don't want to invest in him, I totally understand with the whole like sign stealing thing, and like a lot of Astros players have come down in value because of that. The main guys being like Bregman, Altuve, Alvarez hasn't really dropped as much. But let's go into number 8. Stick on course here at the first baseman. So he right now is still on the Indians, believe it or not. Carlos Santana, he had a really good year last year. His stuff is actually really hard to get in graded examples. Like I was not even able to find any PSA 10 examples of this card from 2009 Bowman Chrome. So I'd used a couple of different examples. This is a base right here, which you can get around for like $5. But notice the auto runs off the card on this example, so that definitely affects the value. A lot of his run off the card. You see this one doesn't, which got it. Why it got a 10 auto, and they're both bold signatures regardless, too. But this is a refractor example in a 9.5. You can get around for like $30, and it has a low pop. So I mean that does still have some upside to grow, especially because Santana's like starting to compile like a couple solid years, but he is getting a little older. But I think in the short term it's still a good investment because if he puts together like another good season, um, it's easily a card that's gonna be able to hold its value throughout the whole year. So and because of the low pop, I would definitely buy it. Also, refractor is about half the value, an ungraded copy of the 9.5. So, but again, try to get one where the auto is on the card, which is tough to do. But definitely try to look for that as well if you're going to buy him. Let's go to number 7. This is one of my favorites actually on in terms of the value and the upside of the player. The A's right now are another team that's going to be in the playoff hunt. I mean, they seem to make the wild card every year. So in Olsen last year, I know the ball is juiced, but he had over 30 homers last year, and he missed like almost the first 2 months. So I think I don't see him not being able to like replicate that season again. Like he should easily get 35 home runs, and he's kind of more the undervalued players in terms of production right now based on what he did last year. So like a 10, for example, you can get around for like $85, and it has a low pop of just 56 examples. And I think it's a card that's easily going to double in value. I mean, it might be a little higher than 85 because we are getting closer to the start of spring training. You know, pitchers and catchers report this week. So I kind of wanted to put out a lot more of these videos within like this week and as the season starts, just because that's the best time to be investing in baseball. Because once the season starts, you know, prices will easily start to hit my future values. Also, ungraded is around 30-40 bucks. Definitely a good guy to buy ungraded as well. Just look for one that doesn't have as many like surface spots as this one. Like try to get one that's in mint condition or something that you could possibly grade too. And even 9.5s, 50-60 bucks. I mean, you can't really go wrong with them either. Like in terms of the upside that Olsen has, and being so that the A's will be a contender, I definitely would be confident in buying any of these. Let's go number 6. Max Muncy was really high on MLB Network's list. They actually rated him second. I think, he's really good, but at the same time, he doesn't really have a whole lot of cards like to invest in, and he is a little older. So he's only been in the league for like 2 or 3 years, 2 full seasons actually. So his first year was 2015, but like his first 2 full seasons were 2018 and 2019 with the Dodgers. But this is one of his best cards, the Topps Update Gold, numbered 2015. There's only 3 examples of these in a 9, and I'm not sure if there's a 10 of this either. But being so that the Dodgers are going to be in the playoff hunt, and obviously the World Series favorite now, if they do get Betts, the trade's not official yet, but we'll see. Um, this is a card that's going to double in value just because I think Muncy is going to become like, more people are going to want to collect him, buy him, start saying, oh, like what's Muncy's rookie card? This is Muncy's rookie card right here. He does have a base version of this, but the gold is so cheap that right now you want to definitely buy that before more people start to catch on. Go to number 5. This is one of my other favorites too. This is a hard card to find in like a PSA 10, and even buying like ungraded copies. But Josh Bell had a monster year last year, and I'm surprised more people aren't, trying to buy him up, or that his prices aren't higher based on what he did. Maybe it's because the Pirates aren't going to be good this year, or it's because maybe they kind of like forgot about him a little bit. But his stuff has trended up a lot. So like his value, I've seen them ungraded actually sell for like 70, 80 also. So I would pay around 100, like probably around 100. I'd be a little more comfortable with if I can get a 9.5. I have seen a refractor that I was watching a couple weeks ago go like 120 ish too, which was a really good buy. Um, but I think these are going to hit around 150, 175 this season in the 9.5, 10. A lot of stuff I'm projecting to go increase in value because the market is so high right now too. So like a lot of guys like in basketball are exploding in value. Like a lot of guys in football exploded in value. So this stuff is going to only continue to trend up in value as the season kind of progresses. So that's why these projections are all kind of higher future values. Number 4, Rizzo's starting to put together a Hall of Fame path. I mean, he is getting a little older. He is in his mid, like his low 30s. He's probably 34 would be my guess. But his stuff still has plenty of upside, and it's actually come down from where it was. So, like for example, this PSA 10, I couldn't find a PSA 10 example because, like I said, 2010 stuff, going back to other videos, is really hard to find in like high grade examples, and it's very underrated considering that there's not many of them out there. So definitely investing in a PSA 10 is your best bet, just because it probably has the lowest pop of any of these. And 9.5s are still good too, but I think those will probably go up around like 30-40 bucks. Maybe they might hit 150 because I've seen them sell for that in the past, but he would have to get like pretty hot, and like he has shown signs still of being able to go on a hot streak and like have a solid month or whatever. So I would look for ungraded ones too. But considering that you can get a 9.5 of this card for only like 30 bucks more or like 40 bucks more, I would prefer buying the 9.5 rather than an ungraded example. That would be my suggestion on any 2010 stuff that's that close in value. So let's go to number 10 or number 3. Um, Number 3 is Goldschmidt. I mean, he started out red hot with the Cardinals last year in April. He actually even had like a 3-run home run game or 3 home run game. So I think this year, like he's only going to get better. And the Cardinals, um, there's talk that they're they're one of the favorites again to win the NL Central. So, and I've seen Goldschmidt stuff actually trend up. I have it at 130, 155, and I've seen them actually hit recently around 175, even like 180. So I kind of projected him to hit like 225. Maybe they'll even hit closer to 250 if he heats up. But I picked one up for around 125 a couple weeks ago, but like the case was a little cracked. But even so, with the case cracked at 125, like you can't go wrong with that. And ungraded is probably around a little higher also now too, since the 9.5s went up. So I'm probably projecting them to hit around 1.25. I did say 100 just to be safe. 1.25 is gonna happen all day for an ungraded one as well. But his auto, some of them are a little streaky. So like you can even see this one is not as um, bold as this one. Like so, but that one still would have gotten a 10 auto because there's not enough there to have like streaks or like a little sloppiness, things like that. But definitely Goldschmidt's 10 is very hard to find also, and that is a very underrated card too, because he, similar to Rizzo, is building a Hall of Fame path. So if you can invest in a 10 for like the long term to just even like, hold on and not like flip it right away or resell, that is a smart investment. And I put kind of like 200 as to like what I would want to pay for one. But I don't know if like any will become for sale because there is only 94 of those. So a lot of those could be in collections, or a lot of people could be not wanting to sell it right away. But definitely be, I think, around 200 because they'll probably hit around 325 this year and continually go up if he continues to be productive. Let's go to number 2. Pete Alonso. I mean, yeah, he was a guy that you had to buy like last year around this time, like starting around like October, November, December, January, February, and as like March hit, I remember like they were around like 75 bucks, and then they kind of by the end of March they were kind of like 100, and then once he got hot in April, they started hitting around like 200 by or I think by May they were around 250, and because that's when he was like on a tear. And I remember PSA 10s last year, they were around 250 as well. And I remember they hit as high as like 4 or 500. Um, and then they just continually like have trended up as Alonso went on a tear last year. But his stuff right now, you're gonna have to pay for it to get it. But I still think there's a lot of room to grow. The reason why is because he's still really young. He's probably the best player on the Mets right now, and I think there is still a lot of upside because other young star players are actually even a lot higher than Alonso. So considering he's in a big market and he's still really young and he's going to be like one of the better power hitters, I still think they can go up a little bit, but I'm not too confident in like my future values. So definitely buy like with a little caution because I think your margin for profit might be a little small if you're looking to resell. Like for example, Like if you buy this 9.5 for like 500, I mean, maybe you might get 700 for it, you might get 600 for it, or you might get 550. Like there is some risk involved because he is a little higher for like a first baseman, and there's no one that's really selling that's higher right now that's like a similar player that's like a first baseman. So he's kind of like almost a lot of people may say like he might be at peak value right now. Can he like reach the levels of Judge stuff? That's kind of like the comparison that people want to use a lot because you know how he burst onto the scene similar to how Judge did, and like can he continually go up? That's but they play different positions though too, so that's why that's a hard comparison. But yeah, just any of these like so if I think ungraded is your best bet to go on these. Like just because if you can get them for like 200, and then if you have to let's say sell like to make a quick profit, you could probably get 300 for it. But for the amount of small money you can put up, you can probably like make $100. Whereas these are a little tougher because they might be harder to find, and someone might not be willing to sell at the current value. But let's go to number one. Freddie Freeman, I think is going to be a future Hall of Famer, and like I said, going back to Alonso just previously, his stuff is. This actually should have been a 2009. Sorry about that. I'll fix that later. Yeah, going back to Alonso stuff, he is a lot higher than Freeman, and Freeman has put up some big years, and a lot of people would say that his stuff is undervalued. Like for example, this card has a really low pop in a 2009 Bowman Chrome Auto. I couldn't even find any like that were listed for sale, so I'm projecting them around like 400. And like future value of them is going to be like 550 because, like I said, he is like half the value of Alonso, and I think considering Freeman has a lot more established years, and people are already saying he's going to be a future Hall of Famer, there's plenty of room for him to go up in value. 9.5s are around 285, and I'm projecting them to hit like 350, 400. Freeman's just only actually getting better, and I think he's right around like 30 years old. So he definitely has a lot of strong years left, and he's already certainly on a Hall of Fame path. But yeah, that's gonna do it for first baseman. Just let me know, who you guys liked that I pointed out to buy, who you didn't like, who is got the biggest upside this year, who you agreed with, who you didn't agree with. I just like hearing people's input, and just gonna continue to make these lists and just kind of correlate with MLB Network. But yeah, thanks guys.